Audio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an audio check, 1, 2, 3, 4. You good?
With the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. This meeting is officially open with the quorum present. And at this time, we will hear public comment addressing items on the agenda. Let me remind you that because of restrictions by the Texas Open Meetings Act, board members may not engage in a verbal exchange about a subject that has not been posted. We will listen and take notes, but the board is prohibited from responding to any inquiries made during a board meeting on any topic not posted on the agenda. However, the board may reply with 1, a statement of specific factual information given in response to the inquiry, and 2, a recitation of existing policy in response to the inquiry, or 3, direct the person to visit with staff about the issue. No presentation may exceed 3 minutes unless the speaker has prior approval for additional time because of the use of a translator. Speakers who require the assistance of a translator are permitted double the allotted time of speakers who do not require the assistance of a translator. Speakers, when your name is called, please approach the podium by going to the back of the room, down the stairs, and coming up the side wall on your right. As soon as the speaker begins speaking, the time clock will begin. And tonight, our first speaker is Reed Biltz, followed by Charles Biltz.
My name is Reed Bills. I am a Fort Worth ISD taxpayer, the mother of 6 Southwest High School graduates, and I am concerned about the future of public education. Until Mayor Parker came to this board and expressed her dissatisfaction with the unacceptable state of Fort Worth ISD's academic results, literally dozens of parents and concerned citizens brought this problem to your attention at previous school board meetings. No response was given and no action was taken or proposed by the board. According to the Fort Worth ISD's website, the board's duty is to govern and oversee the management of the school district, to set the policies for the Fort Worth ISD, and to select and evaluate the superintendent of schools. Now that the situation with our Fort Worth schools has been brought to light beyond this boardroom, you have decided to do something. Specifically, to put the blame entirely upon the superintendent. I suggest that attack is blatantly unfair. Dr. Ramsey has brought you extensive reports, charts, and graphs of the progress of students in the Fort Worth ISD. Parents and teachers have complained to you about myriad deficiencies in academics. Board members are elected to govern the district because they claim to possess expertise in education matters and care about the welfare of the students. In your role of trustee, you should have evaluated the reports and shared your suggestions for remedies with staff long before now. I ask that you work with Dr. Ramsey and her staff immediately to seek solutions and implement them. Playing the blame game does not help anyone.
Thank you, Charles Biltz, followed by Amanda Ine.
I've heard a lot of grumbling about people wanting to fire our superintendent because our scores aren't as high as other similar school districts. I think we should pretty much grade her on how if things have improved since she's been here. I know that it was really bad before, and there are some intractable problems with this school district, and a lot of it is sabotage from state government by defunding and unfunded mandates. So as long as there's been improvement year by year, then we should keep her. I mean, just firing somebody and getting somebody else just seems like treading water. If it has been bad and it continues to be bad, then the school board should accept their own responsibility as part of that and probably not run again or resign. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda Ine, followed by Ali Cheka.
Good evening, Dr. Ramsey and board. My name is Amanda Ine. I'm a parent, a taxpayer, a mom of 3, tour in the district, and a former district teacher of the year. You lost me to a public charter school, and here's why. The leadership under Dr. Ramsey. When I began to advocate for students, families, teachers, I began to be retaliated against. In September, when family nights were moved to 4:30 p.m. and I advocated for families, I began to be rated low on my T-test performance walkthroughs and, beknownst to me, stripped of my elected position as site-based committee member. I then, on 2 different occasions, spoke to my executive director about the retaliation toward me and other teachers on my campus. On February the 1st, I met with Dr. Ramsey herself for over an hour. There was no resolution. In February, when the cuts were made and I came here to speak to you, I was cornered right outside of these doors in a glass cubicle by Dr. Garcia, then my associate superintendent, and Ms. Cortez, my executive director, and I was asked that I needed to be on Dr. Ramsey's side and his side. When I told him and her that I was first and foremost to answer to the Lord and for my decisions as a human being, and that I was on the kids' side and not the political side, it was then that retaliation still continued. I was offered a higher position in that room, and when I let them know that I would not take that position because I would not be bought out as long as I felt like there was injustices to teachers and students being done. 1 week to the day later, I received a call from my director at Cook Children, of which I had volunteered for 6 years since my youngest had open heart surgery. I was told that my principal called and said that I was going to force my way in to see a child whether the family wanted me to or not. This was all under Dr. Ramsey's leadership and knowledge. I would also like to point out that the year that I came back to the district in 22-23, we raised our scores at our campus from not rated to 69. That same campus dropped 10 points this past year under that leadership. When I was district teacher of the year and speaking out and not speaking out, Dr. Rodriguez supported me, invited me to parades, back to school bashes, and all of those things. Just yesterday, her partner, Kathleen Hicks, has bashed me on several of my social media posts that have nothing to do with her. I am telling you that this environment is toxic, and this is why over, I think, 600 teachers, it'll be out in a newspaper soon, have left. Over 51 principals and assistant principals have left, and many more, as I've stated in many meetings before. I am asking you to end this bleed. It's not best for teachers, and it's not best for students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ali Checa, followed by Karen Gonzalez.
Hi, my name is Ale Checa. Not coincidentally, I was also once a district teacher of the year. I have been at this district for 17 years. I'm gonna credential myself here. I have a master's in literature. I have, from Middlebury, I have another master's in literacy from Harvard. And I cannot support more strongly what she just said about the level of toxicity, the level of demoralization of the staff at large. The teachers and principals that are being run off are not the ones who are ineffective. The district and the current policies are actively running off the teachers who are effective. I appreciate that the superintendent has spoken a lot about transparency, but the form of transparency that we're experiencing is a weekly newsletter telling us where she has lunch, where there's total opacity on things that we're begging to have information about, like a plan. I was really kind of appalled yesterday. This is just an example of how the lack of strategic planning is affecting us at the campus level. And I'm not just talking about the fact that, like, when we lost all of the institutional knowledge in those several rounds of layoffs, we experienced things like all of us painstakingly took back the kids' laptops, turned them in, and then the laptops were returned to us in the fall still broken. Nobody's looked at them, right? I am not just referring to like small bits of dysfunction that we've all experienced working at a large public district for many years. I'm talking about the fact that, like, I teach at a school that is a program of choice. We bus kids in from all over the city. We used to have 10 buses that served our campus. Now we have 3. Yesterday, one of them didn't show up. The bus barn called, let us know that, like, in fact, no bus is coming. Bus driver shows up at 6 p.m. We're also told that the district plan is to expand our enrollment. And this is the kind of thing that does not fill us with confidence of, like, if on an individual campus level, we're inadequately staffed, we're inadequately supported, that there is in fact a plan to expand this. And how can we recruit with parents if we can't tell them with a straight face, like, hey, we have enough staffing for special ed, we have enough staffing for dyslexia, we can't even guarantee them that your kid is gonna come home at a timely manner. I implore, if I could just have a specific ask, we need a formal mentorship program for new employees. We need a formal mentorship program, and I'm talking about teachers, I'm talking about principals, and right now it is so dysfunctional that new teachers weren't onboarded in time for new teacher training. We need a formal pathway for experienced and effective teachers to show some instructional leadership. This is a common practice in many local districts like Arlington. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Gonzalez, followed by Carrie Raymeyer.
Hi, I am a veteran teacher of 33 years. Today I stand before you to address a critical issue plaguing our district: teacher burnout and low morale. Imagine dedicating your life to shaping young minds only to find yourself overwhelmed, undervalued, and on the brink of giving up. This is the reality for countless teachers across our district. The numbers are alarming. We lost so many amazing teachers last year because they simply could not go through this anymore. I know 5 more who are leaving at the end of this school year because the current situation is not sustainable. While I understand, I am not willing to give up. The district has the power to alleviate this stress-laden workplace. The first thing to fix is the overwhelming workload. Teachers must work far beyond school hours, grading papers, making parent contacts, reviewing IEPs and 504s, planning lessons for Tier 1 instruction, differentiating lessons for Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions, and attending meetings. The district has piled more on our plates. Data-driven instruction is driving a data collection frenzy that leaves teachers with little or no time to do authentic, student-driven instruction. Secondly, teachers deserve autonomy. Restrictive curricula and administrative decisions limit teachers' ability to use their expertise effectively. We are the experts. We know our students. We know our community. We know our data. The lack of trust put in us is demeaning and soul-sucking. The consequences of this burnout are severe. It leads to high turnover rates, which disrupt student learning and cost our district too much in recruitment and training. More importantly, it robs our children of passionate, experienced educators who could inspire them to reach their full potentials. For the sake of our teachers, our students, and our future, we must make a change in our district. Thank you.
Carrie Raymeyer, followed by Holly Plemons.
Good evening. I haven't been here in a while. I moved out of the district after my daughter graduated, but I wanted to come to speak tonight about doing what we wanted 2 years ago, which was not hiring Dr. Ramsey. So I implore you not to hire a search firm and spend, I don't know, tens of thousands, maybe $100,000. just put out a request. You can just interview your own, candidates without having to waste money on a search firm. Also, we really need to go back to what worked. When it just seems like the school district continues to go down. Let's look and see what worked. The most important thing is that third graders can read, so that they can read to learn. And once they're past that time and they haven't learned to read, it's just downhill for them from there on out. So to me, go back to a time when things were working better. And what programs were you using to learn to read at the time? There's too much technology in schools. Kids are on computers too much, and they are at home too, and you don't have any control over that. But I don't think parents want their kids just being taught by a computer. I mean, that's eventually what, they're trying to go to, is replacing all the teachers with computers. I don't think you want to go that way. So I really think this is your chance to right a wrong and make some change for the better. And, don't worry about being politically correct and trying to, another thing was you held all these meetings with parents and what they wanted, and nobody wanted equity and all this other crap. They just want their kids to learn. And you don't even need to hold those again, because you already know what parents want. So I really hope you take this chance to make this change and get serious about improving the school district. Otherwise, it's going to end up getting taken over. It's going to become public-private partnerships, and none of that is going to be good. Because it's all about the kids' data and commoditizing kids. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly Plemons, followed by David Martinez.
Holly Plemons, mom of 3, taxpayer in Fort Worth ISD. It's been 3 years that I've been coming here and I've talked to you guys. Every once in a while there'd be a few things that I would get my way on. It's probably 5. And the rest of it, I would tell you, please don't do this. I've sent y'all all emails of data. For Amplify, I showed you that not one ISD in the state is improving with just Amplify, not one. Now, the state has changed Amplify because they realize it doesn't work. They're going to try to push in a different curriculum that isn't going to work either. Members, if you guys are still on the board when it comes up, it's HB 1605, OER, Texas OER, now it's called Bluebonnet. Don't accept that either, because it's not going to work. What does work is what taught all of you and me to read. I know you have that stuff. I know you have that curriculum in your warehouse. Go get it. Sell those MacBooks and go get that curriculum. But y'all don't listen to me. What would have happened if the things that I told you, you would have listened? What would happen to our students? I gave all of you the data on Midland before she came here, before you gave her the contract, before the 21 days was up, before it had even started. They were an F-rated school. Their school had worse scores than we did. You hired her based on equity, not merits. And look where it's gotten us. 0% of our 7th graders mastered math. The STAR is actually not that hard. I used to let my kids do it. They scored 100% masters on it. I have those results. For 0%, again, you're showing you don't care about any kids. Doesn't matter what color they are, doesn't matter what side of the political aisle their family is on, it's 0%. Something has to change. All of you need to look at how you've been voting. Every single one of you has made bad votes. You guys just bought $600,000 worth of more assessments for these teachers to do. Can we go back and undo that? Can y'all do that? Can y'all cancel it? They don't want to do that. When are they going to get to teach? You data mine them all day long, then more assessments, more assessments. Respect teachers in their lane. Look at how many teacher openings we have. Look at the failure. What have you done to contribute to that? Because she is 100% in charge and she is 100% to blame. But so are you, every single one of you. And everybody knows I love Dr. Ryan, but it's all of you together as a board. You guys have made the wrong decision over and over and over. And before anybody gets any ideas to go and let the school be taken over by charter schools, If you do that, you're going to leave our absolute most vulnerable students in the worst situation possible. The best thing is local control, and that's y'all, and I'm advocating for y'all. Do better.
Thank you. David Martinez, followed by Todd Daniel.
Good evening. My name is David Martinez. I don't want anybody to presume that I know more than all y'all over here. I just want to, I want to interject some things. I've been pushing for STEM programs in Southside at many of the schools and then the pyramids. So, and I've been trying to get the PTAs. I've been going to the neighborhood associations. I've started neighborhood associations, and I'm working on getting PTOs and PTAs getting going in Southside, because I believe that they help and with a network system. But one of the things I want to bring up that someone also about what having our children go to using technology. Okay, so I'm putting out their STEM programs. There was a book that I read that was interesting, because I give out books to the kids, and then I read them first. And then one of the books was Sentient, and it talks about AI form and raise the kids. The parents died, and the kids ended up being raised by AI technology. And then I started seeing the problems with that. Nobody, we entrust our children with the school system, and that right there says a lot. But a lot of parents, they don't see all the other angles that they go through, and as far as like with education. But one of the things that we want to address is also the safety of these children. So the safety of these children is very important, and we've been dealing with a lot of stuff with the racism and other things that are going on with the threats at the schools. I mean, growing up, we had gangs that we worried about. Now we have these social media terrorists, and so we need to address that. That's one of the things I wanted to bring up. And but most importantly is that we can't lose touch of what we're doing with. This is our future. This is the children, and we can't let them down, because what's going to happen in 10, 15 years, they're going to be on the streets homeless if we don't nurse their minds. And so one of the things I wanted to bring up is I'm not here to point fingers at anybody, because I wouldn't even know where to start. I guess I'd start with me. You know, I mean, I think I could have done a lot more in my life, helping out the community and things like that. But I think that there's got to be a solution. And before we start going looking for somebody to blame and then find another person, doesn't mean it's going to fix everything. I mean, none of this is going to happen overnight. None of this, what we do today is going to be a new beginning with somebody or not. But we need to do some things. And I've talked to some of my friends that have PhDs. They have think tanks. And I asked them, what can I do to help the community? And so I want to tell y'all, maybe we need to look for outside help. Or maybe we need to do some things that are doing at other places are doing, they're working. Because it's bad, but I know there's room that we can work on, and some of the schools that I've at Carter Park and stuff like that is doing better. O.D. Wyatt. Thank you.
Thank you. Todd Daniel, followed by Missy Cara.
Evening. I haven't been here either in a long time. This is the first time to be here. Nice building. You're shutting down a bunch of iconic buildings. Fort Worth seems like just continuing to destroy it. It's such a shame. This evening didn't have to happen like this. I mean, I echo everything that we've heard here, even some of the people that I disagree on some other things. But I mean, 2 years ago, we told you guys, you just don't listen. We told you that it wasn't the right decision. You keep going to the same firms expecting a different result. You know, it's all part of the system. You're all concerned about somebody's PhD or, you know, acronyms behind their name. I noticed the president's not even here. She's part of the problem. I mean, oh, Roxanne, I'm so sorry. It's been a long time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The ex. You know, I don't know why you guys can't listen to both sides of the aisle here that are saying, you know, it is. The superintendent has to take responsibility. I'm sorry you're defending the superintendent, but we brought her here for a reason, to fix the problems that existed. And it hasn't happened. And I sat right here, Kevin, before you were in that chair, CJ Evans was there, and we fought and talked, and I talked to her, and she said, well, let's just give her 6 months and see how, and I'm sure you'll be impressed. Nobody has been impressed. She bought a bunch of her Midland cartel and grifters here. It didn't work in Midland. It's not working here. Nobody's happy with this. We came up here, we were prepared, and we did research, and we read her thesis on Latinx studies and diversity, equity, and inclusion, that she was just a continuation of Scribner's trash. My kids went to school here when this was ALA. Thank God they're both out of here now. Daughter graduated early, and but that's when they started, when Scribner was here. They started with all the pronouns and so forth, and they'd get in the car, and I couldn't believe it. They'd say, that's racist. They'd be talking to their friends, that's racist. And I'd be like, no, that's not racist. That's not the definition of racism anyway, But anyway, I just wish this board would start listening to the community. Toby, you've been here way too long. You've been a part of everything that's gone down in Fort Worth ISD. You've 10 years or so, You've been here all along. Roxanne, I think you have a good heart. Wallace, I think you have a good heart. Lubanos, I don't know you. I don't know you. Kevin, you've had some good votes and some things trying to understand what the chaos that you're taking control over. Dr. Ryan, always thank you. Q, I don't think you're a bad person.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Next is Missy Cara, followed by Trinace Dorsey Hollins.
Good evening. At the end of this superintendent's search, one of you told me that if the board did not get this finalist right, that it would be the end of Fort Worth ISD. And in August, I saw a clear indicator that those haunting words may have just come true. When Mayor Parker, City Council, community leaders came to compel you to adopt a clear, actionable turnaround strategy, it sounded like you were presented with only 2 viable options to accomplish that. One with public-private partnerships, and the other a TEA state takeover. I really hope that you're working towards an option 3. Here's the situation. We're one of the top 4 largest school systems in the nation, alongside of New York, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia, that has lost 10% or more of enrollment, which is interesting because we're also the 12th largest and 2nd fastest growing city in the U.S. Combine that with our track record of what I believe to be designed academic failure, this district has become the perfect target to become a leading example of radical change in the nation. Have you heard about Reimagine Schools or even Reimagine Fort Worth? If not, I'm available to talk to you about it because it will really change things. I believe that you need to begin a conversation about the inherent value of local control and the significant implications of losing it, because there will be changes. So things like admission requirements, wait lists, the length and number of school days, curriculum choices, certification requirements, and administrative oversight could all be handled by an outside entity that could potentially be located in another state or even another country. With that comes the implementation of things like the NEA's community schools model, which inserts itself into every aspect of a child's life. And dare I say, it gets in position to usurp the role of parents and family. One example of this is the CDC's whole school, whole child, whole community model. And if you take a look at that, you'll see exactly where the CDC believes that a parent fits into a child's life. A state takeover is less likely due to current lawsuits about ratings and controversy with Houston's superintendent, who's been accused of funneling Texas taxpayer dollars into his charters in Colorado. So that leaves us looking for and hoping for an option 3. I'm here to tell you that I sincerely believe that your next move as a governing body could be your very last. Being honest, and I want to say that I think that you were right, and that we are witnessing the end of Fort Worth ISD. You've lost employees, teachers, students, and families. You're cutting budgets and closing campuses, and you've already even been rebranded. If I were in your seat, I would have to let her go and promote from within and fight with everything I have to keep local control. Please buy yourself some time before committing to any radical transformation. Thank you.
Thank you. Trinice Dorsey Hollins, followed by Melanie Watson.
Hello, Trinace Dorsey Hollins with Parents Shield Fort Worth. Today's meeting offers a little hope for you guys to be silenced for a long time after Mayor came down. We've been talking about this for months and months and months. Silent equals complicity. So I don't know if y'all are comfortable with where you are right now, where we are right now, but us as parents, we're not. And we don't have 5 years. We don't have 3 more years to turn the district around. We need to turn the district around right now. We need to demand that some additional intentional focus be put on African American students. Our kids are the lowest performing students in the district and declining every year. Like, that's not okay. We have parents leaving to go to charter schools, and we're gonna continue to go to charter schools if Fort Worth ISD can't fix the problem. Like, we don't have any longer to wait. We want to see some intentional focus put on intervention. We know that's gonna close the gaps. We can see that Tier 1 instruction has not been alone doing the work. So we need to put some additional focus on some intervention. I mean, that's the only way. We want to see some transparency with map data, with report cards, with STAR data. We don't want, as parents, to have to read jargon that's unsure if we even get that. Like, if we're gonna act, we need the information to act. Now is the time. We don't have time to wait. We're in a crisis. Our kids don't get a second chance. I'm very thankful for the teachers that have been fighting for our kids. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for the work that you do. Board, y'all gotta do you guys' job now. Y'all have one employee. Like, ensure that that employee is doing the right decisions for our kids. That's all we're asking. And I also just wanna make a comment too about what's going on at Meacham Middle School. They have no AC. We have parents buying and donating fans. That's unacceptable. We need you guys to put some focus on our kids.
Thank you. Melanie Watson, followed by Michael O'Brien.
Good afternoon, board members and trustees that are present. My name is Melanie Watson. I'm with Parents Shield Fort Worth. I consider myself a powerful parent because I do this from my heart. I'm here today because I heard that y'all are voting on whether we're going to dismiss Ramsey. Are we to expect the same results? Let this not be a cop-out. We need you to be responsible. Choose and vet a good leader. Does the potential candidate already have a plan that is solid and not a 5-year plan so that we can start getting results and have assurance and not just hope that our children's future is bright? Will the new leader that you're planning to bring in already be well versed on the challenges? And there are a lot of challenges from the top to the bottom. It is your responsibility to choose a leader that exemplifies all that we need to move us forward. So we will not just lay all blame on a superintendent. You are called trustees because ultimately we put our trust in the fact that you will do what is necessary to move our children's future to a brighter day. If your plan is to pacify us parents by firing Ramsey, it is not going to work. I've been coming to this school board for the past 2 years, every chance I get, and I got 7 kids and a husband at home. And I'm one of those parents that have ultimately moved half of my children to charter schools because failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. So if we're going to make a move that is to better Fort Worth ISD as a whole, it's time for us to get it together, stop trying to find a scapegoat. All of us work together. I see there are quite a few people missing that's usually up here on this panel. I don't know why, and once again, I'm a parent with a whole lot going on too. But for something as important as this, I expected everybody to be present and everybody to be listening. Several of you trustees I know by name, we work together. We got to find a solution. And firing Ramsey post-mortem and we don't have a plan, that's not it for me. Y'all get the job done.
Thank you, Michael O'Brien, followed by Annabelle Alvarado.
Good evening. My name is Michael O'Brien. I'm a science teacher at McLean 6, at least until you close us down. This is my 16th year teaching, and I'm former teacher of the year as well, so I felt like I kind of had this teaching thing figured out, at least until this year due to missing technology and new materials that were given to us at the last minute. This feels like year one all over again because of the massive failures, inane requirements, and mismanaged direction coming from this administration. Two things I've heard a lot from leadership are equity and best intentions. Where is the equity for my on-level science classes that are packed with 30 students each, most of them reading below grade level and more than half having some designation that require accommodations? Where is the equity when administrators tell me that we have to manage with 3 teachers when math and reading get 4? That's not equity. That's management based on standardized testing. What are your best intentions? If the district truly cares about data and best intentions, you would give campuses the staff and time necessary to meet the needs of these kids that are struggling to keep up. More paperwork for students is not going to get that done. When I see a student struggling, I don't give them another assignment. I sit down with them to give them the help and time they need, and maybe also check to see if they're personally doing okay. What were the best intentions for not giving us all the resources we need for the new science adoption? What were the best intentions for firing over 100 technology positions? How is that working out for us right now? I'm not even going to waste any more of my time on that mess. Mayor Parker was right to come into this room and express the community's dissatisfaction with you. To close, students are not numbers. Please stop treating them and your teachers as such. Extra meetings, data charts, and checkbox adult work from administrators are not adding any value to these students. Let your main resource, teachers, do what they do best. Teach. Education is about people, the kids and the teachers, but Fort Worth ISD has forgotten that. It's time for change. Let's move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Annabelle Alvarado, followed by Kathy Arocha.
Good evening. Annabelle Alvarado, teacher and parent. I'm speaking today to express my profound concern regarding the current focus on data-driven education and its detrimental impact on teachers. As a second-year teacher with a master's in criminology, a background in mental health, and currently pursuing a master's in education, my commitment to fostering student success is unwavering. However, the overwhelming emphasis on data collection is overshadowing the critical support we urgently need. Many highly qualified educators, as you saw here tonight, including myself, face severe challenges such as outdated textbooks, limited access to printers, and inadequate classroom resources. For instance, as a first-year teacher last year, I was given only a desk and a broken chair. These issues represent just a fraction of the obstacles we encounter daily. The additional burden of data-driven requirements only intensifies these problems, distracting from our primary goal of effective teaching and student support. The current initiatives driven by the superintendent, while well-intentioned, often seem more focused on administrative metrics than addressing the real needs of those at the front lines of education. This approach not only fails to resolve the underlying issues, but also risks causing more harm than good. By prioritizing data collection over essential support, we are creating an environment where teachers are pressured to meet metrics rather than be equipped to succeed and support their students. If this approach persists, we risk losing more dedicated professionals who are already struggling under these conditions. To truly enhance education, the board must shift focus from making teachers prove their worth, which is what we are doing now, and to providing the necessary resources and support. Addressing those core issues will create a more effective and supportive environment for educators and ultimately for our students. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Kathy Arocha, followed by Ashley Tolliver.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Arocha, and I am a resident of Tarrant County. I'm also the education lead for Citizens Defending Freedom and also a co-director for Latinos United for Conservative Action. I want to address the concerns regarding the leadership here at Fort Worth ISD. And first of all, it's evident that the taxpayer dollars that is being spent are not translating into higher success rates for the students. The data provided doesn't even make sense. It doesn't give a reliable narrative and depicts inconsistency without any explanation. The data doesn't show what needs to be done to improve. You have data showing the numbers of students tested, which are not aligning across the subject matters and particular grade levels. Additionally, you have increased taxes while it was publicly published that the rates exceed what is needed. Furthermore, there's no organizational chart detailing responsibilities as well as expenses for those responsibilities, which, by the way, is what taxpayers are funding. Enrollment continues to decline while Fort Worth population grows and expenses rise. You can't always say it's because of inflation. Your educators are leaving because of this leadership. Transparency is significantly lacking. There is a clear inconsistency between what is posted to the public and what is discussed during board meetings. This is not leadership. It is crucial to maintain a local control over the school district to ensure the community is in control. Therefore, leadership should demonstrate trust and transparency and accountability. This is not happening. It is time for change. It is time this board ensures true leadership is established for this district. It is time to be accountable to your constituents and not ignore their voices any longer. You're setting the tone and the legacy this board will be known for, and that is no leadership. It is time to answer to we the people. Thank you.
Ashley Tolliver, followed by Alex Jimenez.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Tolliver. I'm a parent with Parent Shield Fort Worth and also a team member. Each day I have the honor and privilege of speaking with your parents. Out of numerous of meetings, I've yet to meet a parent who doesn't want better for their child than they had for themselves. Every day I hear the hopes and dreams of the parents we serve as a community. These are the same parents each one of you serve as well. They deserve leadership that will move the needle forward and upward for their children. As the mayor said a few weeks ago, let's seize this moment. You have an opportunity today, in this moment, to change the trajectory for the children in this district who are caught in the grips of generational poverty and cycle of low literacy and numeracy. So please, I beg each and every one of you to pay attention to our children's cries.
Thank you. Alex Jimenez, followed by Donna Collins.
President Martinez, can you be sure that all the board members have that chart Cindy was going to hand out before my 3-minute starts? I handed these out to the back. I'd like for y'all to see what I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to have to talk fast.
All right, I think we all have them.
All right, thank you. Con todo respeto, with all due respect, I'm here today for 2 reasons. One, to let you know why I signed the letter, Mayor Parker's letter, and then talk about this chart. The reason I signed the letter, they called me and asked me to sign it, and I said, I'd like to read it first. So they sent it to me. I read it. And in it, it was addressed to the past president, Martinez, and the board. And in the letter, it mentions the board 4 or 5 times. And it talks about the board working together and coming together with a plan. I've heard this today. I think I was number 17, so the 15 people ahead of me, what I'm hearing is they're looking for leadership from the board. And I've helped about 5 of you get elected. And when we talked, and you'll have to admit that I've always talked to you about, it's about the kids. It's about the kids. It's about reading. It's about reading. It's about reading. Nothing else. So that brings me to that chart. When you look at that chart, this is Commit, the organization out of Dallas. its third grade reading scores or performance in Fort Worth ISD since 2012. Now, there's been 3 or 5 superintendents during that time, okay? So if you look at the scores, that blue line are the reading scores, from the low of 28 to the high of 35. So, the superintendent might not be the problem. We have board members that have done a lot of different things in the 40 years I've lived here. And we have current board members that are going, trying to sell schools to people when the schools are not for sale. We have current board member that 2 or 3 months ago was going around East Fort Worth trying to get support to replace the superintendent. And the reason I know, some of those people called me right after they left. And they said, don't worry, we're not going to do anything. Said trustee went around trying to get signatures to name a school or TLC after her. I learned tonight that the said trustee appointed a person that doesn't live in their district, lives across town, to the Citizens Oversight Committee. Those are shenanigans, and that's been going on for too long. You board members need to stop that crap. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna Collins, followed by Aaron James.
Good evening. I'm Donna Collins, grandmother of 2 and a Tarrant County Freedom Lead for Citizens Defending Freedom and a Fort Worth resident. First, a couple of comments about last week's meeting. Mr. Chowdhury's presentation sounded like a sales pitch to save Dr. Ramsey's job. There was key data left out, inconsistent numbers of students tested in math versus reading. I guess that's shenanigans. Plus the difference in the columns between 2003 and 2004 had mostly negative numbers, and there weren't positive numbers further up to make up for that. There was the highest decline was 13% decline over year from 2003 to 2004. You can look up your slide 12 from last week, see what I'm talking about. Also, I'm still baffled by his comment that black students weren't doing as well due to the bigotry of low expectations. I hope the board is getting clarification on this because I sure haven't. I'm also wondering how the Tier 1 instruction that he talked about was supposed to take place in in many classrooms that are disrupted by poor student behavior. Students are no longer held accountable for their actions. How can we hold students accountable if we don't hold ourselves accountable? And anyway, there's no consequences. I just saw on social media this morning a sheriff in Florida that is perp walking kids that are misbehaving. He perp walked this morning. I saw this morning one way he perp walked an 11-year-old that had made posts about shooting up his school. That's what we need. Embarrass them. Embarrass their family. As I said last week, I'm not going to be a broken record, but last week I said Fort Worth ISD is failing. Fort Worth ISD is failing in transparency. Fort Worth ISD is failing in student accountability. Fort Worth ISD is failing in administration accountability. Fort Worth ISD is failing in student learning. That is obvious. You somehow have less than 50% of students meeting expectations, but you're graduating 90% of them from elementary to middle to high school. All the way, you're graduating them. You're failing our taxpayers with your overuse of consultants and raising the tax rate exceeding what you need. Fort Worth ISD needs improvement, and this administration has not achieved that. Now, if the state comes in, we no longer have a board of trustees. I don't know if all of you know that. We have no local control whatsoever, none. We will not have a board. We will have no say in anything. We have to have local control, and I suggest that you follow option 3 that Missy Kara suggested. Look within and find somebody that understands the problems within Fort Worth ISD. Don't hire these consultants and search firms.
Thank you. Aaron James, followed by Joe Palmer. Aaron James. Aaron James down here. Joe Palmer. Elva Camacho. Followed by Amy Super.
My name's Elva Camacho. I am work with special ed, inclusion, and resource at an elementary school. And wow, I don't really get to make these meetings because I'm a president of an organization of Tarrant County Republican Hispanic Assembly that falls on the same night that your board meetings do. But I do make it when I can. And to hear all these stories, especially with my fellow teachers and educators, is, I mean, it's like I want to cry because we live that. I mean, these kids, I would challenge every one of you to go in any of these schools and spend a week there teaching. You guys got the degree for it. Go, be a sub. Step up. I know Dr. Ryan has been a sub. Step up. Go in there. See how long you last. Seriously. The things that we have to put up with, you know, I mean, it's got to be, I mean, for us to still stick with it and be here today voicing our concerns. I mean, we don't do it for ourselves. We are selfless, and we care about our community, and we care about our children, and we fight for our children every day that they get the best education that they possibly can. And with the data and all the stuff that is going on that you guys are trying to implement that take away from us the one-on-one, what does that say? And you guys want to talk about money. It seems like that's the whole part of everything, that money is the love of money is the root of all evil. And I saw that when you guys purchased the iPads. I mean, that infuriated me. When schools are falling apart, in my own school, we got leaks. There's breaks in the foundation. You guys are closing schools, and yet you sit here in those lavish seats and air-conditioned cold. And I am cold in here. And there's schools that are suffering without air conditioning or heat. What does that say about you guys? And Dr. Ramsey, you guys have been part of the school board for years. I mean, we warned you about her. It says a lot when she's broken a contract in another city, and to expect that she's going to come here and fix what's broken. It's far from it. And to bring her people here to downsize positions and get rid of very important positions to bring her people in here, you guys got to think locally. We need somebody local who knows the heart of Fort Worth, who knows the heart and cares about our city as much as we do, and work with us and work with parents and give us what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Super.
Okay, so these are, you know what these are, they're yearbooks. These are yearbooks from my kids. Fort Worth ISD, class of 2010. Fort Worth ISD, class of 2013. When we moved here 27 years ago, we had two main things we had to contend with in looking for a house: our budget and what was the best pyramid that we could get our kids into the public school system. My husband and I are products of public schools. We believe in them, and we wanted our children in the best public schools that we could get them in within Fort Worth ISD. We chose the best one, and we felt like they got a pretty good education. But if you couldn't see the years on there, like I said, 2013 and 2010, boy, have we come a long way. And I wish I could say it's been up and forward and positive. Unfortunately, it's not. I should have been at home enjoying my empty nester house, but I started reading and started seeing articles about the disparities in the outcomes, especially for some of our students of color in this school and district. And I was appalled. I had no idea the level of disparity that we were talking about. That's what brought me to these meetings about 4 years ago. Researching it, digging deeply, trying to understand, trying to have courageous conversations with people. Yeah, that didn't work out very well, but I did learn a lot. And for someone to come up and try to say that we can't place the blame on one person, well, yeah, I would agree with that. However, the one person we're speaking of is the only one that you have control over and is the only one making over $300,000 a year, while teachers are lucky if they make $70,000, $75,000 a year, with an administration all making six-figure incomes. We can also talk about nonprofits that the district does business with. You know, let's not get confused about that. Nonprofits, they're profitable. You guys have a contract with a company whose leader makes over $900,000 a year. That's pretty profitable for her. My heart breaks the most, though, in sitting here month after month. You guys have gotten to hear from a few teachers tonight. I come almost every month, and sometimes it'll be the same teachers, sometimes it'll be new teachers. But it's like you guys are not putting on your ears, your listening ears, as teachers like to say, right? You're not hearing what they're saying, because if you were, you would have already taken action. She wouldn't still be sitting up here, and the people that she's hired wouldn't be taking up space in this building and doing the incompetent jobs that some of them are doing. That is on you guys. It's got to change. Keep local control before you lose all control. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to call one more time for Aaron James or Joe Palmer. All right. So that was our final speaker. I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts this evening. The time is 6:27 p.m. The date is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. We will now recess and reconvene for executive session as authorized by Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code under Sections 551.071 and 074. get some. In accordance with the open meetings law, the board opened the meeting at 5:31 p.m. with the quorum present, recessed open session, convened executive session, adjourned executive session, and now reconvened open session at 8:12 p.m. with the quorum present. And the time is now 8:12 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.